Hey guys, welcome back to another video. This time I'm going to be talking about Hulu and Disney Plus once again. And I'm not just going to be talking about them, but streaming in general and how stupid in all this is and how it's basically collapsing on, Hollywood and all that. So yeah, I want to kind of talk about this and whatnot and kind of where it's going. But I mainly want to talk about Hulu and Comcast and Disney and all that. Because apparently they're still having problems making the agreements and all that they need and all that. But if you guys haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. Hit the notification bell. And, if you guys don't like me talking about news stuff, you guys can also, follow me. You guys can also, not follow me, you guys can also watch reviews I do in games and all that. Because I do like Let's Plays and I do reviews and all that too on my channel. I've been doing reviews on DreamWorks, which is owned by Comcast, who owns Universal. So, yeah. Well, they own. I don't know if they own all of Universal, but I do know they own the parks and all that, and they have their cable company, and all that. So, yeah, I don't know, but yeah. Hold on, sorry, I still have a little bit of drainage in my throat, but I'm definitely much better than I was last week. I was actually going to talk about, HBO Max and all that, too, just in a separate video, but I'm like, you know what, I'm talking about all this in one video because, there's a lot going on and all that, so let's go ahead and talk about it, though. So HBO Max, we'll talk about HBO Max first, or Max, or whatever you want to call it, because that's basically been going on, too, So HBO Max, I'm calling it HBO Max, that's what I'm going to call it, but basically they have been taking off a bunch of shows and all that, and movies and all that from their platform. Which, by the way, some of them I was in the middle of watching, like Steven Universe, I was in the middle of watching because I was going to do a review on the show. Never got to finish it because they freaking, took the damn show off of there. I think it's on Hulu and all that, but I'm just like, you know what, screw it. I'm not even going to bother right now, we got Hulu, but I'm just like, I'm going to have to go back and track down the episode that I stopped on last and all. I'm just like, it's not freaking worth it, it's just, I could probably find it, but I'm like, I could get back to watching it, and then, it could end up disappearing on there, too, and all that, and then I was gonna buy the complete series of it at Vintage Stock, at the mall I go to, but unfortunately, someone else got to it before I did. It actually even included the sequel series, too, so it included that. That was like $40. So it was like $20 off of what I've seen it at Walmart. So, yeah, that sucks. And on top of that, we got, these companies, not the studios and stuff, but the companies not carrying, DVDs and all that as much anymore. I think Target's going out of DVDs and all that, and it's just a freaking mess. Basically, people are, the studios are part of this too, but they're trying to get you to subscribe to these platforms and all that. The problem is, though, is there's freaking too many of them that are too expensive and all that, and they add up. Even Netflix, even before they started creating all their platforms and all that, Netflix started going up. I think it was like $10 or something, it was $10 and all that, back in in 2018 or 2019, I mean, 2019 is when Disney Plus and all that launched their platform, but still, I mean, they've been going up before this even all happened and all that, and the thing is though is like I said, it costs a lot of money and all that to pay for these. And I mean, you can pay. I guess it's like it won't add up a lot over time. But the problem, like if you just have one platform, the problem is though is when you're watching a movie or something, you'd be better off probably buying it on DVD, and all that. Like I was able to buy like a ton of like Disney movies and all that. I got like a ton of them for a good deal. And all that, and I probably spent about $60 or $70, but I'm like, that's kind of how much it costs per year if you add it up. Well, it costs more than that now because Disney Plus is going up again, and that goes for the other platforms too, like HBO Max, Paramount, and all. They're all going up. The problem is they left Netflix to create their own platforms. Their own platforms, to basically, compete with Netflix. Also, I will say, I think it's also, some of it's, some of it's because they wanted to create their own platform and all that, but also, because Netflix, was probably not they weren't making a lot of profit off of their shows and movies and all that because Netflix is so cheap. That's kind of like how they made so much money off of cable and dish back in the day, because people paid all that money for it and they were making a lot of profit, but when they all moved to Netflix, they were making less money for it. So basically, they kind of went to create all the platforms, and now they're all freaking struggling. And then we have, Hulu and Disney Plus, which is probably going to end up becoming a huge disaster and all that. And what's even confusing about this is, see, Disney had a deal where they were going to buy out Hulu and all that back in 2019 when they bought out Fox. So when they bought out, part of Fox. They never got all of Fox. They didn't get Fox News or the Fox Sports and all that. I think there was other parts of Fox they didn't get, but they got like Family Guy, The Simpsons, King of the Hill, and all. They got all that stuff, and then they got they got the Fox library of movies. But the thing is, though, is they bought out that and they got a good portion of Hulu, which may seem like a good thing. The problem is, though, is they made a deal with Comcast to buy out the rest of the shares of Hulu. So yeah, they made a deal to buy out the rest of Hulu. And what's the problem though with this is although them buying out Hulu seems like a good idea because Hulu is like Netflix, the problem is they already spent $8 billion on it, which is a lot of freaking money for a platform. It's freaking worthless. Like, it really is. They could have just made freaking Disney Plus, Hulu, and just competed that way, but because they were forced to buy it out because they made the deal and all back then, they basically kind of put themselves in a pit there and all that, and they end up being forced to pay that kind of money. And Comcast apparently is not satisfied and is wanting Disney to buy more. I mean, spend more, which I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but apparently they're still having problems with that, which I thought was already over. And I thought they were just gonna they were just gonna go and just keep Hulu alive and just keep it as its separate platform, but you can access it with Disney Plus. That's what I thought they were going to do, but apparently they're still having problems. So So yeah, basically Comcast wants more money. I think Comcast wants to run Disney out of money. I've been saying that, but I think they really want to run them out of freaking money. I think they really hate. They really hate, Disney and all that. They really want them to run them out of money. I mean, they've been doing it for a long time and all that, and I feel like they've been trying to run them out of money. In this case, though, I think even $8 billion is a freaking lot of money for a platform that's basically not worth anything. Well, to be fair, technically, it was still worth something when they sold it. But because Disney already, has their own platform, they blew their money, like on another streaming platform they don't need. Sorry. Oof. But they would have been better off just selling it to somebody else. But no, they're not gonna do that, I guarantee. Because Disney, they're gonna keep it and just merge it with their streaming platform and all that, which has been working very well, by the way, because they've been doing this shit for years. I mean, basically right now they're trying to become cable, like a competitor against Comcast, because Comcast is a cable-ish company, They're kind of like that. That's kind of the whole thing with Hulu, So I think the reason why Comcast doesn't probably... I mean, Comcast doesn't really need, Hulu, and they have their own platform. That's the problem with Disney. Disney doesn't need it either. But right now, it is kind of saving their ass because they do have, their subscribers from Hulu. Which, by the way, if you look up on, I've said this before. I'm gonna keep saying it, but I've said this before. I'll say it again. If you look up on Google and all that, you'll see that it says their platform has 150 million subscribers. Well, it's over that now. Apparently, it's gained more, which is impossible because they've been losing subscribers. Especially after their whole threat thing. I guarantee a lot of people probably unsubscribed to them after that whole threat with that woman at that restaurant biz, where they threatened to sue you. Well, you couldn't sue them, because of, someone getting killed, and that just makes you not want to, buy their products. So, I clearly they don't have as many subscribers as they say they do. And the thing is, though, Hulu is basically, it's a Disney brand at this point. It was even pretty much a Disney brand before they took complete control over it, because people have been taking off their content and they've been going to other platforms. Like if you go on there, almost all the Paramount content is gone. You might be able to buy a bundle where you could pay for a cable-like platform for Hulu, but you're gonna be spending a shit ton of money when you could just go to freaking Paramount Plus or Netflix or something and get the shit a lot cheaper than what you're paying here. It's just not freaking worth it. So yeah, but basically they're trying to become cable and all that, which this shit has failed in the past. They tried to become a game company. That failed. They ended up fucking shutting down their gaming company, which I think they probably should have just kept it. They should have just kept it, and they could have kept their game company and all that instead of shutting it down. They tried to, become, YouTube by making Maker Studios. That backfired. They've been trying to do shit for a long time like this, and it's failed. This is probably gonna fail too. This is gonna fail, and the problem is that they're running out of money to get away from this stuff, So, I mean, either way, if they buy Hulu or not, they're fucking screwed, because if they buy Hulu, they already bought it, but either way, they blew fucking, $8 billion on the platform. They're probably not gonna make back, because they have never made back the money they spent on Fox. they had not made back the money on that, and that was part of the deal of how they got Hulu in the first place. So they basically are blowing more money on stuff they don't really have and are losing. They did the same thing with Lucasfilm too. They spent not too much money on that, but they ended up losing a bunch of money on that. I mean, they made a few good projects that had made some profit, but pretty much Star Wars has no profit. Fox has no profit. They pretty much they're just trying to fight a battle they're not going to win, basically. They're basically just fighting a battle they're not going to win, that's basically what they're doing. And I mean, yeah, Hulu, I will say, is popular, but honestly, I don't think it's as popular as it once was, because ever since Disney has taken over it, it's gotten more expensive. A lot of shows people like watching have left. It's not really worth the money anymore. And I feel like if I were Disney, I probably would just sell it off. I mean, they talked about selling some stuff off. I don't think they talked about selling this off, but that I can remember at least. But they've talked about selling off their assets to save some money, but they're not doing that. And they need to do that because they're not gonna make their money back from this. They're not. And I'm sorry, but I don't think Disney Plus is profitable. It's not even close. I don't even think Netflix... Yes, Netflix has as many subscribers as they say they do. I think the whole streaming thing is just it's a freaking mess and all that. I think we're going to end up right back to where we were, where we're going to only have a couple, streaming platforms to have and all that. It's going to be kind of like the gaming wars. Like, back in the day, there was all these gaming, or these companies that were trying to make games and all that, like their systems and all that, and it led to only a few remaining ones. So we had like Nintendo, Sony and Microsoft that made their consoles. Then we had Sega, and I think Genesis, or I think that was a gaming company, or was that owned by Sega? I don't know. We've had a bunch of them, and then they all kind of just... Then Sega's still a company, but they don't make consoles anymore and all that, and we do have some, like, handheld ones and all that here and there, but it's nothing like it was here. That's kind of what's happening here. Like, I think we're going to be ending up in the same way here. But I don't know if Disney's going to survive this, honestly. I think they may end up going back to Netflix too or something. I don't know. Or they may, I think honestly what's going to happen, to be honest, I think they may end up just selling the company off. Like, I could see, like, another tech company coming in and buying the Walt Disney Company. Because at this point, like I said, they're in huge debt, and all, they keep making stupid decisions, and all, and I mean, they have opportunities to fix stuff. Like I said, they could sell Hulu off to somebody else, but they don't want to do that. And I mean, to be fair, I guess Hulu would be kind of a hard thing to sell, because I mean, I don't know who out there would actually buy Hulu. I mean, they could probably sell it to a game company, like I talked about, like Microsoft or something. They could probably buy it. I think they could sell it to freaking Nintendo. Nintendo's making their own shows and movies. But no, they're just gonna try to merge it with their platform and all that, and try to make a profit off of something they're not gonna make profit off of. Like I've said with Star Wars, the same thing with Star Wars, which is Lucasfilm, but it's mostly Star Wars. They have not made profit really on it. It's basically it's a dead brand. It's basically dead. And I mean, some other movies from Fox has made some money, like Avatar 2 made a lot of money. So did, Deadpool and Wolverine and all that. But most of the stuff has not made a lot of money. And actually, like, looking back at I looked back at their library. A lot of the movies that have come out in the last 20 years were movies that were, 20 years before, they bought out Fox, were actually not, like, owned by Fox, so they don't have access to, like, the Alvin and the Chipmunks movies, the Pink Panther movie, And none of the DreamWorks movies, even though they're listed underneath 20th Century Fox, they're actually not owned by it, you know. So, and I mean, the stuff that's coming out now, they barely have anything coming out from Fox. So, yeah, it's basically just kind of, like I said, they'd be better off just selling the stuff off. But, like I said, I know what they're going to do. They're just going to keep doing this. And I have a feeling like other studios, like Warner Brothers is going to kind of keep doing this too and all that. And I'm just looking at this and I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to keep buying myself some DVDs. I mean, eventually they're probably not going to have new DVDs coming out, but I'm like, I don't care. I just don't care. I mean, I care because I won't be able to see the new stuff, but it's not like I can afford, you know, to buy every one of these. I mean, back in the day, growing up, we had hardly any channels. Well, my dad did, but my mom was poor. She's still poor, but when I went to her house, we went there and we went to her house, and you know, we didn't have a lot of channels, so I was stuck watching PBS Kids and all that, you know, because we didn't have a lot of options, and because it was cheap. That's kind of what I feel like it's gonna happen now. I mean, I bought stuff on DVD when it came out, but you know, but most of the stuff like I watched on, you know, because I didn't mind the commercials, you know, back then too, because speaking of commercials, you know, a lot of these streaming platforms are using ads too, but I will say the ads as well are not really, you know, like, they're not very good anymore, but they kind of suck now. I kind of like the ads, like the cereal ads and all that, those were cool, and then we had like, you know, the restaurant ads, and like we had Ronald McDonald and all that. Now we don't have like any of that, and yeah, it's kind of sad, you know. It's kind of sad what's happened here, but yeah, but I don't know. But yeah, I will say the ads are definitely not helping either. So it definitely feels like we are paying for, you know, cable and all that again, you know. You know, it's just a lot more complicated because they keep moving shit around, so you gotta like, you know, like have like one thing and the other. But I don't know, I feel like, you know, honestly, if I had it my way, I probably, because I'm not really paying for any of the stuff my family is, but if I had it my way, I probably would just buy like one streaming platform and just cut the other ones off and just not bother, you know. I mean, I'll keep even YouTube, and I will admit YouTube has gone way downhill too. But I still like watching YouTube videos and all that too sometimes. But I probably would keep that, maybe Netflix or Paramount, and just cut the rest of the stuff off because, you know, again, it's not really worth it. You know, it's not even worth it. But I don't know what to really say here and all that about that. But I will say I've been meaning for a while now to make a video on a guide, you know, for people to find shows and movies, like on physical media, but I haven't got around to that yet, but I really want to get to it. Been just busy, you know, with the summer and all that, but that is something I've been wanting to do for you guys, because I know a lot of people are wanting to go back to physical media, you know, and since I buy a lot of it, I figured I could be a good person to talk about where to get it. But yeah, I might do that in the future still, but it is getting harder to find physical media too, because they're making it harder. But like I said, you might just have to deal with it. Just fight with them, you know. I mean, it sucks to you know, like, you know, not have, you know, physical media and all that, or like being able to watch shows you really like as much. But it's kind of like, you know, a bully on the playground or something, you know, like, sure, it sucks that they're bullying you, but you need to be tougher and fight back, or just ignore them, you know, kind of like you do with streaming, and eventually they'll have to fix themselves, you know. That's kind of how it works. But well, it usually does. I mean, people have not been buying a lot of Disney products, and they're still fighting, you know, so I don't know, but, and same thing with Warner Brothers, but I don't know, eventually they're going to hit a ceiling, and they're going to have to do something, but I don't know how long it's going to take, but yeah, this is just a huge mess. Like I said, it's a freaking huge, complicated mess, and And the fact is, too, like, we got Hulu and Comcast and Disney still fighting and all that with this. It's just ridiculous. Like, I thought it was all over, but I hear it's not. They're still fighting. I mean, Comcast clearly wants more money out of Disney because Comcast freaking hates Disney. You know, I think they hate them. I was hearing they had a relationship with Disney. They may have at one point, but I don't know if that's still the case because clearly they're trying to run them out of money. So I don't know. I mean, it'd be really awkward if Comcast actually bought out Disney. Because I'm gonna let the video go in a second, but I was just gonna say that'd be kind of funny if they actually bought out Disney, because like like they're both competitors and all that, and then they bought out Disney and all that. That would be actually a complicated lawsuit or like because that might be a monopoly or something because they're both very big companies. Like, even if you take out 20th Century Fox, they're still very big companies. But, I don't know. But I'm going to go ahead and probably let this go. But like I said, I'm really curious where this is all going to end up. But I have a feeling it's not going to be very good, and it's going to get ugly. For not just Disney, but streaming in general. I think all the streaming services are going to struggle. But we'll have to see. Anywho, I'll talk to you guys later. Have a nice, wonderful day. Bye-bye.